Josh, what's the mood like right now?
Well, it has been a long night of just anxious waiting, but as soon as the polls closed, the atmosphere quickly turned into one of a celebration. I spoke with several supporters before the results came in, and they told me they were hopeful that it would be a Dixon victory. Now, earlier in the night, the first 10% of precincts reported more than 40% of votes for Dixon. Around 9, the Michigan Republican Party congratulated her on Twitter. An hour later, the AP called the election for Dixon right before the candidate came out. She was nearly moved to tears as she thanked her supporters.
Thank you to every man and woman who volunteered, who voted, who shared their story with me, who worked to help make this victory possible. And I see so many of you out there that have worked your butts off for me. And like every time I look and see another face, I'm just amazed at what we were able to accomplish and how many people came together.
Dixon then rallied her supporters around COVID-19 restrictions and energy policies from the Whitmer administration that she called dangerous. Next, Dixon will face off against Governor Gretchen Whitmer during the November general election. Here for you in Grand Rapids, Josh Sanchez, 6 News.
Gary, we have gotten stacks of viewer emails and phone calls with concerns over an ad that has been playing on stations around the area and here on WLNS. I spoke with Kevin Rinke today, who says the ad is a joke, focusing on what he claims is a bigger problem, election integrity.
What's really important isn't the zombie or the tongue-in-cheek comment about dead people voting. What is important is about election integrity. And that has nothing to do with 2020. Election integrity has been a standard and needs to be a standard that the people of Michigan and the people of our country are comfortable with.
Candidate for Governor Kevin Rinke says his ad where he appears alongside a zombie has been a success in garnering attention to his campaign and his calls for tighter election laws. He says if elected governor, he would press for voter IDs and clean up the voter rolls. But a Michigan Secretary of State spokesperson says the department already does that.
Michigan also has an incredibly clean voter roll system, and we maintain our rules in accordance with federal election law. We do, again, already have voter ID laws in the state of Michigan that work very well. They're time tested, and they're very similar to many other time tested voter ID laws across the nation.
For the past few weeks, students, staff, and faculty at Michigan State University have all said they have no confidence in the school's Board of Trustees.
And for the past few weeks, trustees haven't much said since their actions prompted the president of the university to resign.
The board met publicly for the first time today since the president's announcement.
And Josh Sanchez was at the meeting. He's here for you now with how they responded to the shattered trust between the board and the campus community.
Students and faculty filled the room for what was the first scheduled trustees meeting after President Stanley announced that he would be leaving office. But what wasn't expected was the fiery and tear-filled speeches trustees gave.
It may have not have gone the way that we all hoped it would, but we were looking in each other's eyes and having a conversation about what's best for this community. And we sat with you guys in the same way and said, we all know we're committed to making this the best place.
I personally want to see this board be better than it is, but when I can't trust my colleagues, that's a problem.
With leadership shakeups, multiple investigations, and claims of lack of action, student and faculty leaders say votes of non-confidence mean there's a deep disconnect between the board and the campus.
Moreover, these votes reflect that MSU employees hold you responsible.
Haney and Slotkin are working together in an effort to motivate Mid-Michigan voters tonight. Josh Sanchez is here for you with more on this cross-party line move. Josh?
Sherry Lauren, the event has just kicked off here in East Lansing High School's gym, and right now we're listening to the national anthem before voters get to hear from both Representative Alyssa Slotkin and Representative Liz Cheney of Wyoming. Now, Cheney's recent endorsement of Slotkin comes at a time of tension and division within the Republican Party. She says the ideas behind the support was to stand as an example of bipartisanship. Slotkin says the endorsement comes as there is further division within politics. Slotkin's challenger, Republican Tom Barrett, called out the endorsement during his campaign stop in Howell today.
I just think we're in a moment in our country's political history where you just have to put the country ahead of anyone's partisanship. So I think she's done that, and while we don't always agree on policy issues, we agree on one really, really big thing, which is preserving our democracy.
But this afternoon, Liz Cheney has the audacity to come here to my district and endorse my opponent in this critical race that will decide which party controls Congress. Alyssa Slotkin and Liz Cheney prove that the political establishment has an unquenchable thirst for military engagement abroad.
Now, we'll have more from both events at 11 o'clock tonight, right before voters go to cast their ballots next week. Here for you in East Lansing, Josh Sanchez, 6 News.